Welcome back to Sleepers Podcast. Tonight, we're talking about a feeling most people pretend not to notice too much. The strange feeling of being left out. Not always in some huge, obvious way. Sometimes it's just finding out there was a dinner, or seeing a photo, or realizing a message thread existed without you in it. It can sound small when you say it out loud, but still land in this quiet place inside you. Maya is here with me tonight. Maya, welcome.
Hi, Mike. I'm happy to be here, and already mildly exposed by the topic.
Same. This one has a way of making adults suddenly feel like they're 12, standing near a lunch table with a tray.
Truly, I can feel the cafeteria lighting.
Fluorescent emotional damage.
Exactly. A very specific kind of sadness.
How are you, besides being emotionally transported to middle school?
I'm good. I made tea, forgot I made tea, found it cold, reheated it, and now I'm pretending that was the plan.
A full evening arc.
Growth. Resilience. Microwave.
Beautiful. Well, tonight we're getting into that quiet, awkward feeling of being left out. Not only the obvious version, where people clearly exclude you, but the tiny, everyday version. The plan you hear about later, the group conversation where you are technically standing there, but somehow not really in it. The online post that lets you know everyone had a lovely time without you.
That one is so rude because it arrives casually. You're just scrolling, maybe eating cereal, and suddenly your spoon is heavy.
The spoon knows.
The spoon absolutely knows.
I think what makes it strange is that it can feel so childish, even when you're grown. You want to be above it. You want to be someone who says, oh, that's fine, people can hang out without me, which is true. It is true. And also, somehow, not the whole truth.
That's the perfect way to put it. Because of course people can do things without you. Everyone has separate friendships, separate plans, separate lives. But sometimes it's not the actual event that hurts. It's the little message underneath it. Like, oh, I was not thought of.
That line is the one. I was not thought of.
And then you immediately feel embarrassed for caring, which makes it worse.
Right. There's the first feeling, and then there's the second feeling about the first feeling.
Exactly. First you're hurt, then you're annoyed that you're hurt. Then you're giving yourself a very stern speech while brushing your teeth.
In the mirror. Like, we are above this.
We are not above this.
We are using a tiny cup to rinse, but we are not above this.
Not even close.
I think being left out is one of those things that attacks your dignity a little. Because it's hard to admit without sounding dramatic.
Completely. It is so hard to say, hey, it hurt my feelings that you had tacos without me.
That is a sentence no adult wants to say.
Never. You would rather move cities.
Start over, new name,
new hobbies, no taco history.
But those tiny things do stay with people. Not always because the tacos mattered. The tacos rarely matter. It's what they seem to suggest. Like, maybe I'm not as central to this group as I thought. Or maybe everyone has another version of the friendship that I'm not part of.
That's the real sting. You suddenly see the room from outside the window.
That's good.
And sometimes nothing cruel happened. That almost makes it harder. If someone is mean on purpose, at least you have a clean story.
Right. A villain.
Exactly. You can put on your coat dramatically and say, I see how it is.
Even if it's just to yourself.
Especially to yourself.
But when people just forget or assume you're busy or the plan forms casually and you're not in that little orbit,
It's blurrier.
It's blurry and somehow more humiliating. Because nobody did anything big enough for you to point at.
There's no evidence board.
No red string. Just a screenshot of brunch and your weird little heart sinking.
That is painfully accurate.
Please don't make me the brunch screenshot girl.
Too late. That's your legal title now.
I accept. With pain.
Do you have a small version of this? Something awkward? Not devastating, but it stayed with you?
I do. And I hate how quickly it came to mind.
That is always the sign.
This was a few years ago. I had this group from work, but it had become a real friend group, not just office friends. We would get coffee, complain about meetings, send each other very low-quality photos of our lunches.
A sacred bond.
Sacred! One day, I came in on a Monday, and everyone was talking about this escape room they had done on Saturday.
Oh no.
Right? And it was not some huge party. It was an escape room, which almost made it worse because I had very clearly many times said I loved puzzles.
You were publicly puzzle positive.
Openly, shamelessly. And I'm sitting there at my desk listening to them describe how bad they were at the clues, and someone says, "Maya, you would have loved it."
That's brutal.
It was such a tiny sentence, but my soul left my body for a second. Because I was like, apparently not enough to invite me.
Right. You would have loved it is such a strange thing to hear after the fact.
It is. And the person who said it meant nothing bad. She was being friendly. But I had to do this cheerful little performance. I was like, oh, fun. That sounds great.
The adult mask.
The adult mask was fully on. Professional face, pleasant eyebrows. Pleasant eyebrows are doing so much work in those moments. Too much. They should unionize.
They really should.
And then the worst part is, later that day, one of them said, "We thought you had plans because you mentioned your cousin was visiting." And my cousin had visited 2 weeks before.
No way.
2 weeks! My cousin was gone. That man was back in Ohio living his life.
Blamed from a distance.
Completely. An innocent man used as evidence.
Did you say anything?
No. I did that terrible thing where I comforted them for not inviting me.
Oh, man.
I know. I said, no, totally fine. I probably would have been tired anyway. Which was a lie. I would have been the most enthusiastic person in that escape room. I would have worn comfortable shoes. I would have taken it seriously in a way that embarrassed everyone.
You would have assigned roles.
I would have absolutely assigned roles.
You're on keys. You're on lamps. Nobody touched the bookshelf until I inspect it.
That's exactly who I am. And they robbed themselves of excellence.
That's the healthy reframe. Thank you. Took me years. It's funny, but I know that feeling. The effort of acting unbothered can be more exhausting than the hurt itself.
Yes. Because you are managing everyone else's comfort while your own feelings are just standing there holding a little bag.
That image is very sad. And very accurate.
The little bag has snacks in it, but still
sad.
Still sad.
I had one that was not even a big event. It was years ago with some college friends. We were all in different places by then, but still in touch. Or I thought we were in touch in the same way. And one weekend, I saw a photo of 4 of them at someone's apartment. Nothing major. No big reunion, just pizza boxes on a coffee table, people sitting on the floor. Someone's sock in frame.
The sock makes it worse.
It really did. Because it looked so casual. It looked like the kind of night I would have been part of before. No one dressed up. No official plan, just the soft kind of gathering where people know they belong. That hurts.
And I remember looking at it and thinking, I would not have even been able to go. I had something that weekend. But I still wanted to be asked.
That is so real.
And then I felt ridiculous. Because what was I going to say? Please invite me to things I cannot attend for emotional maintenance.
Honestly, that should be allowed.
Maybe it should.
Just the little maintenance invite.
Right. We know you're busy, but we wanted you in the imaginary version.
That would heal half of society.
It might. Just knowing you crossed someone's mind changes the whole thing.
That's the thing. An invite is sometimes less about logistics and more about being remembered.
Exactly. And I sat with that photo longer than I should have. Not dramatically. I didn't turn off the lights and stare into the rain. Though you could have. I had options. But I just had this small, dull feeling. Like something had shifted. Nobody had told me.
That is the old friend group feeling. When the shape changes quietly.
And maybe it had been changing for a while. Maybe I noticed only when there was visual proof.
Social media is so good at giving you proof you did not ask for.
A little envelope of evidence.
Delivered directly to your face. Here is a beautiful sunset dinner you were not at. Here are 6 people laughing under string lights. Rude.
Very rude.
And people always say, don't take it personally, which is good advice and also nearly impossible in the first 5 minutes.
Right. Eventually you may get there, but first, the body reacts.
The body is childish. The body is like we have been abandoned near the swings.
And the mind is trying to be mature.
The mind is wearing a blazer.
The body is holding a juice box.
That is exactly the inner conflict.
I think that's why it feels so strange as an adult. You know better. You know everyone has busy lives. You know one missed invite does not define your worth. But there's a much older part of you that still needs the circle to open.
It's not even always about wanting to go. Sometimes you want evidence that there was space for you.
Space for you. That's it.
And when there isn't, or when it looks like there isn't, you start doing math you should not do.
Social math.
Terrible math. They invited her, and she met them after me, and he knew I was free, and this person liked my story but did not text me.
None of that math ever equals peace.
Never. It equals you eating crackers in the kitchen at midnight, annoyed at a group chat.
I have done similar math. It is always inaccurate and still persuasive.
That is the problem. The evidence is weak, but the feeling is strong.
And pride makes it harder. Because there are moments when a simple sentence might help. Like, hey, I saw you all got together. I would love to come next time. But that sentence feels like walking barefoot across glass.
It does, because it sounds so needy in your head.
Even though it's reasonable.
Very reasonable. But your pride is standing there like absolutely not. We will simply disappear and become mysterious.
Pride loves a silent exit.
Loves it. Pride would rather suffer than send a normal text.
Pride has terrible communication skills.
The worst.
There's also that awkwardness of not knowing whether you were actually excluded. Sometimes the plan happened spontaneously. Sometimes someone forgot. Sometimes there was limited space. Sometimes you are building a whole courtroom case around a misunderstanding.
That's true. And that makes it delicate. Because people do exclude others without meaning to. I've done it. I'm sure I have.
Same.
You think, oh, this is just the people who were already in the conversation. Or you assume someone is busy. Or the plan starts as 2 people and becomes 6.
Then person 7 sees the photo and thinks, I guess I'm not in the 6.
Exactly. And nobody meant to create a hierarchy. But humans are sensitive to shape. We can feel when the circle closes.
Oh, that's beautifully said.
Thank you. I will ruin it soon with something less graceful.
Please do. It keeps the show balanced.
I once got left out of a group birthday dinner because I muted the group chat.
Wait, really?
Completely my fault. But emotionally, for about 9 minutes, I was a betrayed Victorian orphan.
Tell me.
There was a group chat that had become mostly memes and people debating parking. I muted it because my phone kept buzzing during work. Then apparently, buried between a dog video and someone asking about a charger, there was a whole plan for dinner. I did not see it. Then that night, I opened Instagram and saw them all at a table with tiny candles.
Tiny candles are always involved.
Always. The candles made it look intimate and intentional. I had this immediate wounded thought like, wow, okay, so this is where we are now.
And the invitation was waiting quietly in the muted chaos.
It was. I found it later. Someone had literally written, Maya, come if you can. My name was there. My betrayal collapsed under evidence.
That's actually funny.
It was humbling. I had to sit there and be like, perhaps I am not the tragic heroine. Perhaps I simply muted Connor.
Connor and his parking updates created the whole situation.
He did. I still blame him a little.
Fair.
But it taught me something. Sometimes the feeling arrives before the facts.
That's important.
The body does not wait for context. It sees a tiny candle and declares war.
The tiny candle as emotional trigger.
Very powerful object.
I had a smaller one too. This is almost embarrassing because of how minor it is.
Good. Those are the best ones.
A few years back, I was in a meeting with people I liked. Not close friends, but friendly. There was a conversation before the meeting started about a show everyone was watching. I had watched it too. I tried to jump in 2 or 3 times, but the rhythm just never opened. Not in a hostile way. They were just moving quickly, laughing, finishing each other's thoughts.
Ugh, I hate that feeling.
I was sitting right there, physically present, but I had this odd sensation of being outside the glass. At some point, I stopped trying. I opened my notebook and pretended to review something very important.
The notebook is the adult security blanket.
Completely. I wrote nothing meaningful. I think I underlined the date twice.
Strong work.
Thank you. Very focused.
But that version is so specific because nobody left you out of a plan. You were literally in the room.
Exactly. Which makes it hard to explain. You can be included in the seating chart and excluded from the warmth.
Oof.
And again, no villain. They were not doing anything wrong. They were just connected to each other in a way I could not access at that moment.
That happens in friend groups too. You can be on the couch, holding a drink, laughing at the right places, and still feel like your real self is standing outside by the door.
Have you felt that?
I have. More than once. There was a period after college when my old group changed slowly. People paired off into closer duos, some moved in together, some worked near each other. I was nearby, but not quite inside the daily life of it anymore.
That slow drift.
Right. And nobody announced it. Nobody said, Maya, your membership tier has changed.
That would be efficient, though painful.
Honestly, at least I'd know. But
Instead, I'd show up to things and realize there were whole layers of jokes and stories I had missed. Someone's neighbor, someone's weird boss, a weekend trip that had happened, a fight that had already been resolved before I even knew there was a fight.
You were getting the headline after the article had circulated.
Exactly. And I remember one night we were all at this apartment and everyone was talking about a trip they were planning. Not a giant trip, just a cabin weekend. I had not heard about it.
And I was sitting there trying to act casual while slowly realizing the plan was already formed.
Did they invite you then?
Sort of. Someone noticed my face, I think. Which is humiliating because I thought my face was being normal.
Faces betray us.
Constantly. She said, "Oh, you should come too, if you want." And that should have helped, but it landed weird.
Because it felt like an afterthought?
Exactly. It was technically an invitation, but emotionally it felt like finding an extra chair in the garage.
That is a painful phrase.
I know. And I almost went, just to prove I was fine. But I didn't. I said I had a busy week. Another lie. My week was normal. I had laundry. That was my demanding schedule.
Laundry has been used as emotional cover for generations.
Truly. A noble tradition.
What stayed with you about it?
I think it was the realization that I was no longer automatic. That is the word. Automatic. There was a time when certain people made plans and I was naturally part of the mental list. Not because I demanded it, just because I belonged there. And then one day, I wasn't automatic anymore.
That's a quiet grief.
It is. And it's not even anger exactly. More like, oh, the furniture moved while I wasn't looking.
And everyone else knows where to sit.
Right. And you're bumping into things.
Did the friendship recover?
Some of it did. Some of it changed. I stayed close with one or two people. The group as a group kind of dissolved into smaller pieces. Which happens. That's adult life. But at the time, I took it as a personal failure. Like I had failed to remain important.
That's heavy.
It was. Quietly heavy. I didn't cry in a dramatic way or anything. I just drove home from things feeling tired in a way sleep didn't fix.
That's a very real kind of tired.
And then I'd feel embarrassed. Because nobody had been cruel. I was not abandoned on a mountaintop. I was just not central anymore.
But that matters.
It does. It really does.
I think people underestimate how much inclusion is built out of tiny signals. Who gets told first? Who gets the casual invite? Who gets the, "We saved you a seat"? Who gets asked, "Where are you?" when they don't show up?
That question can mean so much. Where are you is sometimes another way of saying you were expected.
That's exactly it. Being expected is such a gentle form of love.
That one stings.
It does.
Because being alone can be peaceful. I love being alone sometimes. I can spend an entire evening making soup and watching a boring video about old houses.
That sounds ideal.
It is ideal. Very low stakes. But being left out is different. Being alone is when you choose the room. Being left out is when the room chooses without you.
That distinction is the heart of it.
And it's why people get hurt by things that sound small. It's not, I needed to go bowling. It's, I thought I was one of the people you would ask.
Right. The activity is almost a container for the meaning.
Exactly. And sometimes the meaning we attach is too big. I can admit that.
Same.
Someone forgetting one text does not mean they don't love you. People are tired. People are scattered. People have children, jobs, errands, brains that are basically 80 open tabs.
Some tabs playing music and nobody knows which one.
Exactly. So I try to leave room for that, but also, if you keep finding out after the fact over and over, your heart starts keeping score.
It does. Patterns matter.
Patterns matter more than one mistake.
And there's a tender balance between not overreacting to one moment and not ignoring your own reality.
That balance is hard because sometimes being mature looks like letting it go. And sometimes being mature looks like saying, hey, I miss being included.
That sentence is brave.
I hate it.
Same.
I hate that healthy communication is often the most embarrassing option.
Deeply unfair.
Very poor design. But maybe there are softer versions? Like, next time you do that, I'd love to come. It does not have to be a courtroom scene. True, no gavel required. No dramatic exhibits. Just a small, honest bid. And the right people usually respond well. Not perfectly, maybe, but with care.
That's true.
I had a friend once say to me after a very awkward conversation, I didn't realize you wanted to be included in that. And at first I was offended,
Naturally.
deeply. I was like, what do you mean? I am a delight.
Objectively.
Thank you. But then I realized I had been acting extremely unavailable. I kept saying I was tired, I kept leaving early, I kept making jokes about being old and boring.
You accidentally marketed yourself out of plans.
I did. I ran a full anti-campaign for my own social life.
That is very relatable.
And then I was hurt when people believed me.
There's a real lesson there.
Unfortunately.
Sometimes we protect ourselves by acting like we don't need anything, and then feel unseen when people don't see the need.
That's exactly it. And I don't say that to blame the person who feels left out. Sometimes people are genuinely careless. But sometimes we are also sending confusing signals because wanting to be wanted feels vulnerable.
Wanting to be wanted might be the most human and least cool thing.
Completely uncool. Very embarrassing. Also, universal.
The uncool universal.
That should be on a mug.
A very sad mug.
Beige.
Naturally.
With bad font.
Perfect.
What do you think people should do in the moment? Like, when you see the photo or hear about the plan and get that little drop in your stomach.
I think first, maybe do nothing for a minute.
Wise.
Not forever, but just long enough to not hand the feeling the steering wheel. Because the first version of the story your mind tells may not be fair.
The first version is usually dramatic.
Very. Mine wears a cape.
Mine has a soundtrack.
So maybe you let the first wave pass. Then ask, is this a pattern? Or is this a moment? Did I actually want to be there? Or did I want to be remembered? And is there a gentle way to say something? If it matters.
That's good. The did I want to be there or did I want to be remembered question is dangerous.
Dangerous. But useful.
Because often I did not want to be there.
Same.
I wanted to be invited so I could say no peacefully.
The dream.
The absolute dream. Included, but in pajamas.
That is adult happiness.
Truly.
I also think it helps to remember how invisible everyone feels sometimes. Even the people who seem central. Even the person posting the group photo may have another room where they feel outside.
That's true. Nobody is included everywhere.
And no friendship can make us feel chosen every second. But good friendships do have a rhythm of reaching back.
Reaching back. I like that.
They notice when you've gone quiet. They make space without making a spectacle. They say, "We missed you," and mean it.
And they don't make you feel ridiculous for wanting that.
Exactly.
Because that might be the tenderest part. Not just being included, but being allowed to care. I think a lot of adults walk around pretending they're above basic belonging. Like we evolved past wanting a seat at the table.
We have not.
Not even close. We can have jobs and rent and opinions about olive oil and still feel a tiny ache when nobody saves us a chair.
That's very true. The chair still matters.
The chair matters.
And sometimes we can save a chair for someone else, too. That's the part I try to remember. When I know someone might be on the edge of a group, I can pull them in a little. Ask them the question. Send the extra text. Make the plan wider.
That is such a small kindness.
It is. And it does not require a grand emotional speech.
Thank goodness.
Just come with us. Or we were thinking of you. Or you would like this.
Preferably before the escape room.
Ideally before.
Timing is key.
Timing is everything.
I do think there's something healing in becoming the kind of person who includes gently because you know how exclusion feels.
That's a beautiful point.
Not in a forced way. Not inviting every person to everything until nobody fits in the restaurant.
Fire code inclusion.
Exactly. Unsafe belonging. But just being aware. Looking around the conversation. Noticing who hasn't spoken. Remembering who might want to be asked.
Those things matter more than people admit.
They do. Because so much of friendship is not the big declaration. It's the little evidence that someone kept a place for you in their mind.
That may be the quiet center of this whole topic. We all want to know there is a place for us somewhere. Not everywhere, not always, just somewhere real.
Somewhere we are not an afterthought.
Somewhere the circle opens a little when we arrive.
That's it.
And when it doesn't, it's okay that it stings. It does not mean you are immature. It does not mean you are needy. It might just mean you are human. And you noticed the shape of the room.
I like that. You notice the shape of the room.
And sometimes the room can change. Sometimes you can say something. Sometimes the group is not your group anymore. And that hurts. But it also makes space for people who remember you more easily.
People who don't need a reminder to pull up the chair.
Exactly.
That's a comforting thought.
It is. A quiet one.
The best kind for this hour.
Maya, thank you for talking about this with me. And thank you for bringing tiny candles, escape rooms, muted group chats, and emotional laundry into the room.
Always. That is basically my brand.
A strong brand.
Beige mug incoming.
And thank you for listening to Sleepers Podcast. If this topic brought something up for you, maybe let it be small and honest. Maybe think of someone who might like to be included, or someone you miss being included by. No grand gesture needed. Sometimes a simple message is enough. This was episode 7 of Sleepers Podcast. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, and have a restful night.